with the students, and because the place was just packed. And so the energy, I'm getting all jacked up because the energy that was surrounding in the town and just around those teams, it was nuts.
All right, everybody, welcome into episode 2 of The Last I Heard. We're here with two of the Amherst Mammoth's fall coaches, Justin Serpone of the men's soccer program and EJ Mills of the football program. Coach Serpone, Coach Mills, how's everything going?
Great. It's awesome. Thanks for having us, Nick. This is an awesome thing you guys are putting together, and appreciate it. Watch Don's first episode. The premiere was good.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, Nick, happy to be here. Excited to talk a little Amherst Athletics, and appreciate you guys doing something, just to kind of keep the conversation going in this kind of difficult fall.
Yeah, give people a look inside and see how everything's going. I appreciate you both coming on, taking the time here. I think people mostly want to hear about how fall practices have been going. Obviously, with social distancing guidelines and mask wearing, things are a little different, and at least I've been down with golf as the Hitchcock fellow, and we've definitely had to adapt a little bit. But just right off the bat, sort of what do your day-to-day practices look like? How many kids do you have on campus? Are there positional groups, pods that you work with on different days of the week? Just kind of give people a closer look inside behind the scenes.
It's, first and foremost, it certainly has been different, right? And we have, 21 first years on campus. We have about, 14 sophomores and one junior on campus. So, I've been working with, with that group of kids, and it's been awesome, right? I mean, it's certainly limiting because we started for the first 20 practices in groups of 10 or less. So we had 5 pods going and practicing at different times of the day, but really focusing on fundamental development and understanding the intricacies of the offense, defense, special teams. So it's been tremendous for the young players. We now are able to gather in groups of 25 or less. So we're able to do some, social distancing 7-on-7. It's still you're not competing for the football, and yet you're able to at least make your verbal calls and get your communication out and drop zones. And so it's been, and then obviously throwing and catching and running routes. So it's been challenging at times, and yet it's been really beneficial for the kids that are on campus.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think we're in a little bit of a different scenario. We only have 4 student athletes on campus, 3 first years. So it's a pretty intimate group. We started out, and I think, everybody, when we got to campus, started 2 or 3 days a week, trying to ease into things. We're actually going 5 days a week now. And that's amazing for, the personal attention you can give to each kid, right? And because of the social distancing, actually, which is something that I didn't anticipate, it actually kind of forces you to work on some things that maybe you wouldn't do, technical work, technique or in ways that is really individually based that maybe you wouldn't have time to do in the course of a regular season. Sure. So some of the stuff we're doing with those guys, that's amazing for them. And they've probably never gotten that type of one-on-one attention at any point in their soccer career, right? And so I've been sort of pleasantly surprised. And I think, not to speak for EJ, but I think both of us would come at it from the perspective of the number one thing is keeping people healthy and engaged and in a mental health standpoint where we're giving them something to do every day. So I think that the football, the soccer is a little bit of the icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. But it just allows us to be together, which is so important in such a unique time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed with the guys. I mean, certainly it's a challenge, put your mask up,
Yeah.
your mask slide, you're constantly kind of on that. And but I mean, I think the kids have really embraced this opportunity. I mean, I think there's a lot of restrictions and yet they're together, right? And they're on campus, they're able to focus on their studies. They're with their friends. And as Justin said, I mean, there's things that we're doing right now individually, that attention individually that we will have to find a way to do moving forward because it's been so beneficial. Video, just the footwork, incremental improvement in movement and efficiency of movement. We talk about it all the time, but we didn't necessarily probably work on it before. And now, like in these smaller groups, we're like, this is stuff we need to carry forward. So I think like any, COVID is an opportunity, right? I mean, it is. It's an either you're gonna embrace it and get better, or you're gonna whine and complain and not take advantage of it. So I think that's the approach I think we're taking is, hey, let's use this time to get better as we're focusing on really 2021 as a team, and yet individually trying to get that better every day.
No, I think that's right. And I think, certainly there are times of frustration with the situation. And I think the student athletes feel that, we feel that, right? There's just days where you're super positive about everything. And there are days when it can be a lot because, we're in a pandemic and people can't, live the lives that they normally would live. But it's such a unique opportunity, Nick, to do things in ways that sort of that show that you appreciate other people and that you respect other people. Like when I'm wearing a mask, whether or not I'm on the track or I'm walking down the street, whether or not I care about what the mask is doing for me, what other times in life can we walk by somebody, put our mask up, right, or have a mask on to say, I appreciate you, I care about you. This isn't about me, this is about our community. And so I think a lot of the messaging to our student athletes has been about that. Like sacrifice is an awesome opportunity to let people know you care about them and that it's bigger than just you. Can I quickly give as we're talking about individual training, can I give a quick shout out to the assistant coaches? Because I think
100%.
they've been, I mean, Matt Travis, my assistant, he's been doing the heavy lifting with coming up with what we're doing every day in practice. And I come out there and every day there's something new and there's only so many things you can do. And I've been so impressed. And, this isn't easy on them either. And they've been kicking butt as far as engaging and attacking this whole scenario. So just special shout out to the assistants. They're pretty awesome as well.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time as a team. Don't think about yourself, think about others, the guys around you. That's what we're doing. Yeah. In essence, that is what we are doing as an Amherst College community. And certainly, as a country, and sometimes you'd say we've done well, and sometimes maybe not so well. But you're doing this for the other person to keep everyone safe, and so it is a good message that we're sending, and I think the college has done a great job of really creating a bubble that everyone can kind of work within, and sometimes it's frustrating, but it's what we needed to do.
Yeah. And I've really latched on to the messaging of the herd. I think that's a great image all the way around. And while protect the herd is, something that everybody's saying, I think, it really kind of builds this, dependence on each other that I think is you definitely see on campus. So I guess to touch on a little bit of the rest of the herd that's off campus, I'm interested to hear how you're engaging those student athletes and even sort of getting into a little bit if kids decided to defer to save their eligibility. What were those conversations like? How do you figure out sort of what the best path is forward for everybody? Obviously, freshman and sophomore on campus now, but touch a little bit on those student athletes who are off campus as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'll answer the second question first, which is people taking a leave of absence or, that scenario. I don't think there's any kids that are choosing to do that because they want to defer their eligibility, right? I think that, and we've worked really hard as a staff to say, listen, if you decide that you want to come back and take a leave, come back for a fifth year, that sort of thing, that's got to be because academically it's the right thing to do, financially it's the right thing, life-wise it's the right thing to do. Soccer or any sport should be 77th on your list of things that you're worrying about, right? Like, this is not about winning games and certainly that's a piece of the puzzle, but I think we've been really careful. And I actually on our seven seniors have decided they were going to come back for a fifth fall. I actually, with each of them, sort of talked through and kind of argued against why they should do that, because we wanted to make it really clear that if you did that, right, it was the right thing to do in your life, right, and it wasn't going to be at all a soccer decision. Yeah. As far as I think, and I'd be curious to hear EJ's take on this too. I think there's a balancing act as far as your off-campus kids in this time, right? And I don't know what's right or wrong, and everybody's kind of just trying to do their best right now. But I think if you're thinking about it in an 80-20 scenario, I'm not a big fan of the big team Zoom where you jump on and it's 45 minutes and you're talking to 30 kids at a time, guys at a time, right? I think we've done that. We'll do that periodically, every month, every couple of weeks. But I think what's so much more important in this time is individual relationships, right? So it's, I'm driving to pick my 3-year-old up at school, right? I'm calling Nico to chat about, what he's doing. How's Wyoming? That's where he's at right now, right? Or it's, Ignacio's taking classes remotely in Spain. I got to use WhatsApp because otherwise Verizon kills you on the international calls.
Yeah.
But it's those individual relationships, because this is not a cookie cutter. Everybody's worried about the same thing. Everybody's attacking the pandemic. The situations are so different. So I've kind of tried to double down on those individual relationships, and it, that's how we're approaching it in the short term. That may change as people's situations change in the spring, but I don't know if there's a right or wrong. EJ, do you think, how have you guys sort of thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you're dealing with, it's a lot of guys, right? And so we've done big, we've done big Zooms. A lot of times when we get into a big Zoom, we break out into smaller groups using the breakout rooms to kind of have more intimate conversation. I'll meet with the individual classes, right? So sometimes it's the guys that are, because you have different levels, right? We have guys that are remote. We have guys that have taken the fall off, and your interactions are slightly different in terms of football with those guys. But I agree with Justin. It really is. Every kid had to make a decision that was kind of best for them. And he tried to take the football piece out of it as well. And a lot of the guys did say, hey, coach, I want to play I want to use that. I want to come back and have another season. And in order to do that at Amherst, you have to take time off. And so a lot of the guys have, chosen to take the fall off so that they can come back and play. But that's just a piece of the puzzle. Some guys couldn't, right? Some guys said, this isn't the right decision for my family and me. I want to graduate on time. I want to kind of keep, my, kind of things rolling.
Sure.
Certainly embracing everybody's situation and trying to have that connection. Some of the guys are living together, are in a pod living together remotely, going to school. So it's we'll see what the spring is going to be like. I don't know yet. But yeah, it is, it's trying to, again, every individual made that decision, and we're trying to support that and make sure that they're doing well. The mental health piece of just surviving and really trying to thrive in this environment. So that's where we've been as well.
What was so special about that team that went all the way to the national championship last year?
I think they were just an enjoyable group, right? Like we every step of the way had a lot of fun, and they worked their butts off. Everybody right from the beginning, right from when we got the preseason last year, everybody was sort of in, right? And, was looking for ways to sacrifice, looking for ways to try to achieve. And that group had been to 3 straight Sweet 16s and hadn't made it past that. And I think that kind of left a bad feeling in the mouth where we felt like we could have gotten bad taste rather, could have gotten a bit further. The night that we lost in the final, was asked about it and in the post-game press conference. And I told the guy, like, dude, all you can do in life, right, is try your best. And then the results, I mean, they come as they're going to come, right? And so you try your best and the heck with it, right? And so with that group, I just felt like for 3 months we were trying our best.
Is there a single moment, maybe a goal or a play or save that you can pin down as the most special? Obviously a tough question, but
from 2019?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be hard to say anything other than Herman's game winner in overtime against Tufts, where we dribbled from the kickoff and he scored whatever 5 seconds in. I don't even know how that's possible. Herman, I feel like I'm his press agent or publicist, but that dude's nasty. He's really, really good at soccer, and just having the chance to coach him over the last couple of years has been really special. I'm trying not to screw it up. But his goal against Tufts, I mean, that's something that I don't think anyone that was there will forget anytime soon.
Yeah, I remember after that game, Coach Serpone took full credit for that goal, for the Herman goal. He said all those moves he had worked on with him. So
go back to that individual attention we were just talking about.
As we like to say in football, it's not the X's and O's, it's definitely the Joes.
That's for sure. But somebody did ask me after that game, like, was that a design play? I'm like, design play? I'm like, he just don't know. They don't do anything I tell them to do anyway. Even if it was like some sort of a design play, it didn't. No, they just. It was awesome though. It was sweet.
Yeah.
With the no competition this year, Amherst Williams football game is not going to be going. Obviously, a huge day on campus, aligns with homecoming when it's at home. What are you going to miss most about that day on campus? Definitely one of my favorite days that I got to experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, we didn't, we certainly didn't, get the results that we wanted last year. So you got to sit and kind of, that kind of taste in your mouth. It's not good, and not having the opportunity to come out in this year and kind of, you're certainly trying to change your fortunes and things like that. But I mean, it's, we're looking at it as a pause, right? I mean, it's, we know we're going to get back to this, and, every Saturday is really difficult, kind of just like, what the heck do you do? I realized that if you play golf in the fall, you can't find your ball because the leaves are all down. And I'm like, I've never had this issue before. Clearly, if you're in the fairway, you're fine. But if you're, you got leaves. No, I think that, clearly, the rivalries that we have in the NESCAC and for us, Williams is that's the one that, we point to. And I've said this many, many times, right? It's like the thing that really, it's typically our seniors' last game, right? I mean, we don't have a ton of guys going on to play football after college. And so, they've been playing football for 14, 15 years. They identify as football players, and that's going to be the last time that they have an opportunity to tee it up, so to speak. And so it brings such an importance to that game. And then besides the fact that it's a rival and the alumni look to it, and like you said, energy on campus, the NESCAC did make a decision to move the schedule. So, we would be hosting Williams, on November 13th in 2021. And so we're going to look forward to that. But, it's disappointing. And yet we're trying, as we said, all the work that we're doing right now is to really continue to prepare for the next opportunity we get as a group.
Nick, Mr. Fall, Coach Falstick had a shirt and tie last week, but EJ and I never got that memo. Are we on the dress?
He was the first one. He wanted to dress up, but I like the informal, just kind of having a conversation. Yeah, this is what everybody's doing. So we'll
Right.
stick with that vibe.
All right.
All right. So first one is probably the hardest one, but I know Coach Mills and I have had a lot of conversations about restaurants in the town of Amherst. So if you had to build a Mount Rushmore of restaurants in the town of Amherst, what would be on it? You can sort of give me 5 if you need to, but what would be up there?
Go ahead, Each.
Well, first off, I mean, we've lost some quality scenarios. We have. I mean, and so right now, this is kind of a bad time to be asking me because I've been I'm a little down on what we're doing. And again, restaurants, it's spaces. Rafters was a specialty of mine for many reasons. It was just a great gathering place. It seemed to be a place that the coaches loved to go, and it had a good wing. The food was not the issue, but so I'm missing that. But from a pure gathering space, food, pricing, whatever, I love Johnny's. Johnny's is a solid spot. And so that's certainly going to be up there on any of the lists. Just, you go ahead.
No, I also had Johnny's.
Yeah.
Johnny, I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't go wrong there. EJ,
good.
can you get real quick for the this predated me, but will you tell a quick Rafters anecdote about back when John Calipari was at UMass? Wasn't Rafters like off the charts?
I literally, right? I mean, this is really dating me, but back in the days when Camby and Coach Calipari, Marcus Camby, you couldn't get into Rafters to watch a game. Like I came to Amherst in March 8th, 1993. Hicks got us tickets. You went to Rafters and you got on a van, and they had kind of like a fast track. So there was like 15 of us. They had you could get in the back door kind of right to the Mullins, and the Mullins had just opened. And so I went to a Temple game early in my career, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Out Calzone, it was nuts. But then the other days when you were trying to watch the game, because there wasn't every game wasn't on ESPN. Like you would go to Rafters because they would have it on. You couldn't get in. Sometimes I used to have to go to the back door because you got to know people, and they would sneak me in so that I could just get in Rafters to watch the game. I think Antone's is one of those places that is staple in Amherst. I mean, I think if you talk to anybody that went to school here, whatever, they're going to point to Antonio's. And I still, I still like to migrate.
Yeah.
You say my favorite slice. I mean, that's really difficult because the Sicilian at Antone's is awesome, right?
Which was Fallstick's answer to the question.
Big fan. But then I also like, chicken blue cheese is kind of a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I love the portobello and the pesto. That's a favorite.
Yeah.
Coach
Serpone, any others to put up there?
Clearly, I eat more than Justin. So,
I love Mission Cantina, and I know Stig mentioned that too, but like that place is awesome. I don't know if any of the student athletes, I don't know how often they get down there, students, but I think it's terrific. The only bad part about Mission is the wait. I mean, you go in there on any night and you're waiting for an hour, which is probably the sign of a good restaurant. Yeah. And it's impossible, Nick, to talk about these restaurants without recognizing the fact that, like, man, they're going through hell right now with the pandemic, and whatever people can do to try to go and support some of these restaurants, because such a challenging time, and they've been there for the community in so many ways. We could talk ad nauseum about some of these places, but I'm sure that there's a lot of stress right now on them to keep things moving, right? Because it's tough.
And the other one clearly for me is Pasta e Basta, because that's kind of, that food is near and dear to my heart. I love and it's so their food is awesome. It's so reasonably priced. I mean, they've done a great job with takeout. We've tried to support them in that way. You're right. I love Pasta e, and they're so the ownership and just the way that they do their business is awesome. So that would be on the Amherst Mount Rushmore for me.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, that's kind of part of why I asked the question, is just to get the names back up. And if someone even in the town of Amherst watches this and says, "Hey, oh, Posse Bossa, that sounds great tonight." I mean,
Yeah.
like my Amherst experience would not be the same without the town of Amherst and the restaurants that we sort of found. I mean, like my group of friends, we'd go to at 4 o'clock, right when Mission Cantina opened, just to get a table and be able to eat there. Like it's memories like that. Those are the ones that I'm going to remember. So the other ones I would shout out quickly, Miss Saigon. It's my personal favorite. I know I've been pitching it to Coach Mills for a while.
Yeah.
Tasted Thai is also a favorite. So those were the ones that I would have to shout out a little bit there. So I put this one in last week with Coach Fallstick, and maybe it's a hike or an attraction or something like that. Biggest hidden gem in the Pioneer Valley, something that people might not know about. An example for me was the Quabbin Reservoir, which is an absolutely beautiful spot. And then I also said Cushman Market, which is down towards Deerfield. Great little breakfast place. So,
Yeah, Cushman is a nice gem.
yeah.
It is.
So if you had to pick one, biggest hidden gem, Pioneer Valley.
I think so. My two of my kids go over to school over in Old Deerfield,
Mhm.
and I can tell you, like this time of year, Old Deerfield is like a movie set. And I stole that from Coach Donardo. He lives over at Deerfield, but that place, it's absurdly nice. And the one thing that Nick, as we talk about the pandemic, and EJ talks about silver linings, there, I think this is the first time, every time I pick my kids up from school this fall, I've been like marveling at the leaves, right? And I keep telling them, take a mental snapshot. Like, that's beautiful. Like, holy smokes, can you believe we live here? And when I tell you, for the last 14 years, I have not thought about leaves in the fall for 1 second.
Yeah.
I do it every day now. But I'm thinking about Colby Bates weekend coming up, or I'm thinking about how we're never going to score a goal or whatever it is. Like, I'm losing 10 pounds because I'm so stressed out. Like, there are things to really notice and sort of check yourself on in this. And, we talk about the ability to connect with family during this time too, right? Like, I probably at no point in our lives are we going to get the chance to be hanging out with our kids this much, or our significant others, and so recognizing those things, and leaves is a little bit of a metaphor for that, I think is super important. And that's not part of the course. I just did not know what the heck I'm talking about, so I went on a little tangent there, but Old Deerfield's my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I'm so fortunate to live on Southeast Street, and my house kind of backs up, to the bird sanctuary, and seriously, the foliage. Right? I haven't appreciated, certainly playing golf in the fall has been awesome, because I've never done that in 30 plus years of coaching. But Amethyst is an awesome place to hike. Bear Mountain every day is like a postcard shot that you just kind of you have to sometimes say, like, wow, like, I can't, and I have the back porch in our house is just, it's got a beautiful view. So we, you try to appreciate the little things, without a doubt.
You just said your back porch, Coach Mills. Like, is there one specific spot that's just kind of quintessentially fall in Amherst that you can think of?
Well, the funny thing with that question, Nick, and I'm totally good with appreciating the leaves right now and taking this time, but I tell you what, like, I'm going to be ready to get back into what I know the real fall to be 12 months from now. So when I think about when I read your question about the quintessential fall, to me that's 4:30 practice, mid-November, 31 degrees. Everyone's got their Under Armour on. We're getting ready for an Elite Eight game coming that weekend. Like, that's fall to me. And this is all great, right? Like, leaves are beautiful. Love spending time with my kid, all that. And it's amazing. But believe me, we're going to be ready. And right now, the word that we use is patience and appreciation. But 12 months from now, it's going to be urgency, and it's going to be getting back out there and challenging each other and competing. And so for me, fall means, all the Saturdays that we get to try to, be our best. I miss it. I miss our guys. and it's not fall without being surrounded by 30 people that are all, being unselfish and trying their best. And so that's a little bit of a runaround on that
No,
answer.
it's a great
but
question. That's a great answer. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
And the thing that I miss so much is, just as, as the head football coach, you get a chance to talk to your team every day. Like, we practice. And so just getting those guys on a knee and really just kind of, pontificating as I do often about just different things. And, you just don't really have the chance to do that. And I'll do it on a Zoom occasionally, and we'll do, but it's just, it's not, and it's, whether it's picking on a, just the little interactions that you have that are so, that's where really that's what builds your team.
I think we're going to end it there. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you guys coming on. We had a wide ranging conversation. Fall practice, got a little Rafters tribute in there. So,
and just a quick shout out. Like, I think, Coach Mills, EJ gets, has so much responsibility in our department, has so much responsibility with running one of the best Division III football teams in the country. And, I think he doesn't necessarily get the public credit that he always deserves. And I just think the world of EJ, and can't believe that I'm on the same staff as people like EJ, Jack Arena, Cassie, Jen Hughes, Carol Nur. I'm going to forget a million people, but it's really an amazing group. And we're really blessed to have people that care so much about Amherst and our athletic program and all of our teams. So just a quick shout out there.
Yeah.
And Justin is, really just, become, such a leader in our department and just a stalwart in every step of the way. And just really, really created one of the best Division III soccer programs in the country. And everybody recognizes that. So we're very fortunate. But I still remember like the interview process when Justin was coming through and he was a young dude and Coach Arena and I both were like, this guy's nuts. But
you weren't wrong.
As you were saying, a good nuts, let's put it that way, and knew he was one of our guys and has really, made a huge impact in our department. So,
yeah. Thanks guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Take it
Thanks,
easy.
Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Go
See you
Mammoth.
later.